softball, then you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. We're bringing you more interviews, more videos, and more product reviews than anyone else on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello and welcome to the Fastpitch TV show. I'm your host, Gary Leland, and I bring you this show every week. Just check our website on Fridays for the new episodes. That's when I try to put them out, is every Friday. Now, if you found our show on Facebook, your Apple TV, YouTube, or any video sharing device, please check out my website at fastpitch.tv. It's the home of the Fastpitch TV network and the place to find all the softball videos and softball blogs. It's basically my network for Fastpitch softball, so check it out as soon as the show is over. Now, this week I'm bringing you an interview I had with former Olympian Shelly Stokes. Now, Shelly was in town for the Wounded Warrior softball team versus the Fellowship Christian Athlete softball team. They had a game a few weeks ago. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Now, in case you're not familiar with Shelly, she was a catcher for the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. That was the first time softball was in the Olympics. That's kind of cool. Let's go to the interview right now after a word from my sponsor.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to SoftballJunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout. And wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Thanks for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate it. We're out here for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes versus the Wounded Warriors. Now, how did you get involved in this event?
From my past relationships with Dot Richardson and her husband Bob, who is on the FCA board, and actually asked me to join the FCA softball board, and so it's led to this awesome event with the Wounded Warriors, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the games tomorrow. We have a double header, but let's go back a little further. I want to go back to the beginning of your softball career. How old were you when you started playing softball?
I was probably about 8 or 9 when I started. A lot older than when the kids start today, that's for sure.
And did you start with softball or baseball?
Softball. Was girls softball.
Okay, because a lot of ladies I run into that played in the '96 Olympics and stuff like that started in baseball because there wasn't much softball around them.
And I think that depends on what part of the country you were from also, because it depends on if baseball was the primary sport. But I was fortunate enough to have girls softball in my area.
Okay, and let's go. And was your dad your first coach?
No, actually, neither of my parents played sports, and I just was very athletic and busy and just wanted to try it, and I asked my mom, can I try this? And she was like, great, because I was such a poor loser and thought it would be good for me to experience losing a little bit more and understanding that it's okay.
Then you ended up winning a lot. How'd that work out for her?
Yeah, surprisingly, no, it was a good experience. I had good coaches from the beginning, and it's just something. I loved the sport, I loved the game, and enjoyed just playing anywhere and anytime I could.
So you started at 8, and you played, I guess, recreational at that time, or was it what they call travel ball select? Or
no, it was just recreational, probably for the first 4 or 5 years. As I got older, then that's when the travel ball started to come into play.
Okay, and then you went to high school. Where'd you play high school at?
Played high school in Sacramento at Del Campo.
And were you a catcher this time too? All this time in softball?
I actually started catching in high school so that I could be on the varsity team. I was kind of more of a second baseman, and then ended up catching in high school, and that's pretty much where I stayed.
Okay, and that worked out pretty good for you too.
Yeah, it's a good fit with my personality.
Now, you played in high school, and then you went to college. Tell us about that.
Had a great career at Fresno State University. We took second in the nation 3 years in a row to my nemesis UCLA, which is most of my teammates from the '96 Olympics. I love Margie Wright. She was a great influence, great coach, great person to teach you not just about softball, but about life. And just the friends that I've made while I was at Fresno State, and it was just a great all-around experience.
Now, would you say she's been one of the biggest influences in your life in softball as a police plays?
Oh, definitely. I mean, all aspects, not just softball, but like I said, like for life also. And we still remain friends today, and I can go to her if I have questions or concerns or anything like that. So it's been really a blessing to have her in my life.
Okay. Now, I want to get to the stage of going to the Olympics. How'd that all come out to be? I mean, did you just go try out, or did someone say, hey, you need to come get on the team? I mean, this is the first Olympics we're talking about. The softball was in '96 in Atlanta, which I happened to be there, so I saw you play, but I didn't know it at the time. But, how'd that all come about?
Well, something, I mean, we didn't really realize what we had done is we always wanted to play with Coach Wright, meaning we, as in a lot of the alumni from Fresno State. So once we were graduated, we decided to put a women's team together and do the women's circuit in the summertime and play against the teams like the Reading Rebels and the Connecticut Breakettes. And so we had the Fresno Force, and Margie Wright was our pitcher, and I was the catcher, and a bunch of our alumni also played with us. And we went to the Women's Nationals that year, and we played very well. And what they did is they took girls that had, or women that had made All-American during that Women's Nationals. And so there were about four or five of us from our team, and if you made an All-American position, whether it was first, second, or honorable mention, something like that, if I'm remembering correctly, then you were automatically put into the tryout process for the Olympics, which we didn't know at the time that was part of the process.
Oh. So you just found out you had tried out for the Olympics when you got a call?
Well, that you had got an opportunity now to try out for the Olympics because of making All-American during that Women's Nationals. So then they had other areas how they pulled players, but that was one of the ways that they did it.
And speaking of the Fresno Force, am I mistaken, or did there used to be a lot more of that, women like Breakettes and Ray Bestos and the Force 20 years ago or 10 years ago even than there is now? It seems to me you do have the MPF now, but I don't see really that much anymore like I did at that level that you were talking about.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually wasn't as involved with it until after college, and there is definitely not the same. It's not like what it used to be. As far as, I mean, Dot would know a lot more because the Breakettes have such a big history, and then the Reading Rebels had even a bigger one. We were kind of just put together one summer, and I think when the Olympics took place, I think that kind of dissipated the rest of the women's league because you were always trying out for U.S.A. events.
And I guess now if they're wanting to play at that level, they're going and trying for the MPF or something.
Yeah, they're playing with the Women's Pro League, yeah.
Okay. So getting back to the Olympics, you're in Atlanta. Can you tell us like your most memorable event except for winning, besides winning, that gold medal and being up there? Is there anything outstanding in your mind you remember?
As far as the games are concerned, I think I have a couple fond memories, and basically just walking out onto the field for the first time and realizing that, you're in an Olympics that I guess you dreamed of as a kid, watching the Olympics growing up and never thinking that softball would ever, be a part of it, and having that opportunity and just being blessed to be there and support and be a part of the U.S.A. and being in the U.S.A. I know a lot of people were like, well, it's unfortunate you didn't get to go to another country, but to me it was great because my family got to attend. It wasn't too far away or too expensive, and we were in our home backyard, so it was a great experience. That was probably one. And my second one was after we did win. My best friend was an alternate on the team, and it was tough for the alternates because once the game started, they were excluded from everything, and being able to meet up with her right after we got the medals and put the medal around her neck and just say, you're just as deserving of this as I am, and just supporting her and everything, how she supported me.
And I think that's kind of odd on the alternates. Not only are they not involved from that point, but if I'm correct, tell me if I'm wrong, they really just sit in the audience. They're not in the dugout, and they aren't even in uniform, are they?
No, not at all. They are completely removed from the process of the team, and they are a spectator at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of weird that they're not. They go through all that, and then they're not included, even if they aren't on the lineup in it at all. That just seems kind of odd to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they can't even be, maybe not even dressed, but as far as a jersey in the uniform, supporting the team that they've helped support the entire time, because they are a part of the team. They've been a part of the whole process the entire way, and it's kind of an unfortunate process, but obviously that's the U.S.A. and the rules that they make, and maybe someday that will change where people can be in the dugout with them.
Yeah, I think it's just such a shame, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah,
That's why I wanted to bring it up.
It's a very difficult situation. You're an alternate, but you kind of are pushed out as soon as the games begin.
Now, after Olympics, what happened with your career?
Well, I ended up getting back into the workforce eventually. I don't exactly remember what year it was, and so I worked for a pharmaceutical company, Abbott Nutrition, and sell baby formula. I got married. I have 2 children. I have a girl. Her name is Bryn, and she's 6. And I have a little boy named Tyson, and he is 3 years old, almost 4. And my husband, Tim, is a deputy in Fresno County, and so that's where I reside. And we're just going about our business, raising the family, and enjoying opportunities like this that don't come along all the time.
Well, I appreciate taking the time to join us, and we've got a complete update for your life now as to where you're at and where you started, and I appreciate it. Is there anything that you might want to, before we go, tell a young kid who's getting in softball, who's hoping Olympics will get back in it, and they'll get to where you were? Any kind of tip or advice or anything that the wisdom from the previous...
that shows age when you say wisdom, but...
Well, I'm older than you, so I got lots of room to say it. I'm cutting myself down.
All right. No, I mean, definitely, if it's a young girl's passion, I would just say, just to thrive off of that passion and live it out. Don't let anybody tell you any different. There's a lot of people that will discourage you, saying maybe the Olympics won't be an opportunity, whether they ever get to that level or not. As long as somebody enjoys doing whatever sport it may be, but just to give it their all, give it their heart, and keep the glass half full and never half empty.
Well, you never started to play in the Olympics, did you? I mean, they weren't around then.
No, not at all. I loved watching gymnastics and all the other sports when I was a young girl, but never ever dreamt that I would have that opportunity. So hopefully it will come back around, and I think it will. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and those girls that are, it's all in the timing. It's all in the timing, and hopefully those that are coming up enjoy the sport. They're going to be right back into it.
Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Welcome back. Now, that last short video you just saw was from my new magazine, Fastpitch Illustrated. It's for the iPad. If you want to subscribe to it or just find out more information about the magazine, go to fastpitchillustrated.com. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's interview. If you want to know more about Shelly, just go to U.S.A.fastpitch.com and you can see her complete bio. Now, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you need to look at all the apps I've created for those devices today. At this time, I've created 8 different apps just for the iPhone and iPad. Just go to app.fastpitch.tv. And don't forget to check out our new skills video channel at coacheslook.com. Great way for high school players to get noticed by college coaches. Well, that's all for today. So until next week, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.